How do you lay out your iPhone? How do you lay out your mobile phone homepage? Well, mine is super simple. Now, I only just changed this yesterday using iOS 14. But what I'm going to show you here is how I choose which apps are going to make it onto my mobile phone. And this can apply even if you're using an Android or something else. Now, often when people do these, here's what I've got on my mobile phone, and they will choose the most frequently used apps. And in a sense, that kind of makes sense. But if you want to get rid of something, if you're finding that you're spending too much time, for example, on social media, then what you probably want to do is create some friction for yourself, make it a little bit more awkward. And so that's really, really a very important key to my mobile phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record my mobile phone screen now. And to do that, I scroll back up here. So slide right from the down and from the bottom up. And I'm going to hit that white circle there. And that's going to allow me to record my phone. Now, I could actually do it with the microphone as well, but I'm not going to do that because I'm already recording myself on the laptop. And then I down arrow there. So the apps that I've got here, well, so the first one is for me to, on the top is for me to walk 10,000 steps a day. And having it right there in my face is a reminder, hey, Anthony, it's time for you to go for a walk. So that way I know that I'm going to get in my 6 kilometers a day, which are maybe about 3.5, 4 miles a day of walking. The next one is Google Calendar, so that's very important for me to keep on top of appointments, especially appointments with others. Now, the next one is Asana, and that is something that I use for keeping track of not just a to-do list, but my procedures. So, for example, when I create a YouTube video, I've got a set of procedures that I need to check off. I need to create the title and the description and tags and thumbnails and so on. Yes, I could keep all of that in my head, but having that procedure there means a couple of things. One is that I'm going to be consistent. I've got a checklist. I'm going to be more efficient in doing that. In doing it, I can also outsource it to somebody else potentially by saying, here is the procedure. And another one is that if I've got the procedure, I can then document it. I can then create a video about saying, here is my procedure. And by the way, if you're wondering how I do all of that, then check out this video here that I'm linking to right now, which shows you how I create a system, a very simple system using the Asana tool. You can use Trello, you can use something else. Now you can see messages is there, camera and service NSW. Service NSW is for New South Wales, which is where I live. And that is used for me to be able to check in when I go to a cafe, for example. It's in Service New South Wales for the QR codes. Same with the camera. I want those to be at my fingertips. Google Chrome for searching. I don't use Safari. LinkedIn for the social media, which is really the only social media channel that I really use actively. And the idea here, the principle here, is that you want to put in the things that you use most frequently, the things that you want to be using most frequently, make them convenient. The docs and the sheets, they probably surprise you having those on my mobile phone. So Google Docs is something that you would generally use on a laptop, and that's for documenting stuff, for writing stuff. Well, I often am on the road. I'm often walking around, and I'm just taking notes for myself of a blog post that I'm going to write, of a video I'm going to create, or of a service offering that I'm going to create, or something else that I do for one of my clients. And so I will put that into Google Docs. Having it on my mobile phone makes it nice and easy for me to add stuff really quickly. Google Sheets, once again, probably surprises you to see it on the mobile phone because Sheets is a spreadsheet thing, and spreadsheets are hard enough as it is, let alone on the mobile phone. Most of us find them a bit cumbersome, right? But having the sheets there means that I can very quickly go straight to a spreadsheet so that if I need to, for example, keep track of my YouTube statistics. And so you can see the YT Studio, YouTube Studio there. Zoom, once again, that's for me to be able to connect into a meeting quickly, and Gmail, which is, of course, my email. And then right down the bottom here, those three dots, once again, is Asana. So I've got it really at my fingertips if I need to go and create a process, if I need to create a procedure, because for me, everything is either a project or a process. Project is like a to-do that I've got to get through. I've got to get through this. So that's, if you like, I've got to serve this meal. If you're running a restaurant, I've got to create this meal because somebody has ordered it. But a project means I've got a recipe for it so that it's repeatable. Okay, but how do you work out which apps go on to this? Now, to put an app on, I press hard and you can see the minus sign, see them all shaking there, and then that allows me to drag it to wherever I want it. And then I press the home button, and then it is there. Now, there's no way that I want to keep WhatsApp there on my home page, so I'm going to take that off again. Because I can just click on Edit Home Screen, and then drag that off again. Now, how do you work out which apps belong on your home page? Well, here's how I did it. So in terms of the frequency that you use apps, yes, that is one factor, but what if you've got an app that you use frequently and you don't want to use it frequently? So what I did was I listed all of those apps, the ones that I know that I use pretty much every day. And then I thought, well, okay, I scored them on 1 to 5. How often do I use these on my mobile phone? So Anchor is for me to create a podcast. Yes. Do I need to have that on my mobile phone, or could I just use it on the laptop? If I've got a backup, if I've got another way that I can access this, then maybe my mobile phone is going to be used really for premium access. So it scores a 1 in terms of frequency. And now, but frequency isn't the only thing. I also wanted to get the urgency. I'll speak about these two in a moment. If I've got, for example, let's say that I'm getting to a coffee shop, and when I get in there, I want to be able to grab my phone quickly and I want to scan myself in. I don't want to be queuing up, and I don't want to have a lot of people waiting behind me while I'm scanning the QR code. So that's why I've got the camera and the other app from the New South Wales government to allow me to scan quickly, to scan that QR code. So that's why that service, New South Wales one, scores high on terms, and the camera as well. The two of them score fairly high in terms of, here's how fast I want to be able to access this. Whereas something like a social media thing, it's not going to be an urgent one. Then I'm asking about the importance. You've got the Eisenhower matrix, where you've got what's important and what's not important, what's urgent and what's not urgent. And some things are urgent, but they're not important. And some things are important, but they're not urgent. So we really want to try and work out, okay, this is not so much what I'm actually doing, but what I want to be doing. In terms of importance, a calendar is very important. YouTube Studio, frequency, yes, I do use it often. Urgency, yeah, it's probably actually a 3 rather than a 4. And then importance, I would say it's very important because YouTube is important to my business. But now LinkedIn, I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5 in terms of frequency. I can always look it up on my laptop anyway, and I don't actually have to be using the mobile phone for LinkedIn. In terms of urgency, LinkedIn is really not an urgent app. I'm going to score that one just a 2 there. And then in terms of importance, well, okay, I'll probably give it a 4 out of 5. And so all I really did was I multiplied this. I just worked out, okay, this one equals frequency times urgency times importance. And then whichever one scored the highest, that is going to be the top of my screen on my mobile phone. Okay, so that's how I did it. I just sorted those. Now this might be all a little bit too complex for you, but the idea here is that I worked out, where do I want to be focusing my time? What do I want to make most convenient and most easy to use, easy to access? and that's what's going onto my home screen. And so once again, as you can see on the home screen, those pretty much reflect what I have on this sheet here. And then if I need to add a new one, I could use this Widgetsmith. You can look up some videos about how to use Widgetsmith to add a new app if you want to, if it's not one of your apps that's already on your mobile phone. So I hope you have found this helpful. Let me know in the comments, have you found some productivity tip that you use that helps you get yourself more organized, especially on your mobile phone? Thanks for watching.